Love the Eagles as much as we do? Then hit that subscribe button and stick with us at Eagles Nest News for all the drama, updates, and hype all season long. The news that has quietly rippled through the NFL corridors is nothing short of electrifying. Mekhi Becton, the towering offensive tackle who has been absent from the gridiron for what felt like an eternity due to injuries and setbacks, is making his way back onto the field, and the Philadelphia Eagles are at the center of this unfolding drama. Insiders whisper that the decision was not merely strategic, but deeply intertwined with an almost cinematic timing that the Eagles' management has been crafting behind closed doors. Sources close to the locker room suggest that Becton's rehabilitation was meticulous, bordering on obsessive, with trainers, physiologists, and nutrition experts coordinating a plan that could rival anything seen in professional sports. The buzz isn't just about his physical readiness. It's the psychological edge he brings, a presence so imposing that defenders across the league are reportedly reevaluating their entire approach just hearing his name mentioned in pre-game talks. Rumors hint that the Eagles have been quietly integrating him into practice sessions under the veil of secrecy, experimenting with formations that could redefine their offensive line dynamics. Analysts speculate that his return could catalyze a dramatic shift in the NFC East, potentially unsettling teams that have underestimated Philadelphia's adaptability. The murmurs suggest a scenario where Becton doesn't merely participate. He dominates, redefining what it means to be a force on the field. Speculation continues about the timing of his debut, and whether the Eagles will unveil him as a surprise mid-season weapon or gradually reintegrate him into key games for maximum strategic impact. Social media chatter reflects a mixture of skepticism and excitement, with fans dissecting every training camp clip, every glimpse of his form, and projecting scenarios where his presence alone forces defensive coordinators into tactical contortions. The intrigue surrounding Becton's return seems calculated, a narrative unfolding almost like a thriller, where the protagonist emerges after trials and tribulations to confront the high stakes of the NFL battlefield, leaving everyone, from analysts to casual observers, hanging on the precipice of anticipation. The news that has quietly rippled through the NFL corridors is nothing short of electrifying. Mekhi Becton, the towering offensive tackle who has been absent from the gridiron for what felt like an eternity due to injuries and setbacks, is making his way back onto the field, and the Philadelphia Eagles are at the center of this unfolding drama. Insiders whisper that the decision was not merely strategic, but deeply intertwined with an almost cinematic timing that the Eagles' management has been crafting behind closed doors. Sources close to the locker room suggest that Becton's rehabilitation was meticulous, bordering on obsessive, with trainers, physiologists, and nutrition experts coordinating a plan that could rival anything seen in professional sports. The buzz isn't just about his physical readiness. It's the psychological edge he brings, a presence so imposing that defenders across the league are reportedly reevaluating their entire approach just hearing his name mentioned in pre-game talks. Rumors hint that the Eagles have been quietly integrating him into practice sessions under the veil of secrecy, experimenting with formations that could redefine their offensive line dynamics. Analysts speculate that his return could catalyze a dramatic shift in the NFC East, potentially unsettling teams that have underestimated Philadelphia's adaptability. The murmurs suggest a scenario where Becton doesn't merely participate. He dominates, redefining what it means to be a force on the field. Speculation continues about the timing of his debut and whether the Eagles will unveil him as a surprise mid-season weapon or gradually reintegrate him into key games for maximum strategic impact. Social media chatter reflects a mixture of skepticism and excitement, with fans dissecting every training camp clip, every glimpse of his form, and projecting scenarios where his presence alone forces defensive coordinators into tactical contortions. The intrigue surrounding Becton's return seems calculated, a narrative unfolding almost like a thriller, where the protagonist emerges after trials and tribulations to confront the high stakes of the NFL battlefield, leaving everyone, from analysts to casual observers, hanging on the precipice of anticipation. Whispers from inside the Eagles' facility suggest that Becton's presence has already started to alter locker room dynamics, with younger linemen reportedly looking up to him as a figure of authority and resilience, as if his very posture and stride transmit an unspoken lesson about enduring adversity and returning stronger. The murmurs indicate that his leadership qualities, often overshadowed by his raw athletic prowess, are now becoming central to team discussions, inspiring teammates to embrace a more disciplined and unified approach to practice. Observers who have been granted rare glimpses into team meetings say that conversations now frequently pivot around the possibilities his return introduces: new blocking schemes, the potential for trick plays, and the subtle but impactful psychological pressure on opponents who know Becton is back. It suggested that the Eagles coaches, aware of the broader media narrative, are intentionally keeping the details vague, heightening suspense to a near-theatrical level. Rumors abound that even rival teams have attempted to send spies to observe practices, only to find Becton missing, further fueling speculation about a carefully orchestrated reveal. The discourse online ranges from outright disbelief to fervent hope, with fan forums dissecting every rumor, every insider leak, and every ambiguous tweet from the organization, trying to predict when and how Becton will re-enter the game. Analysts debate the timing of this return, weighing the risks of reintegration against the rewards of sudden impact, pondering whether the Eagles are aiming for a slow reintroduction to preserve health or a dramatic entrance that shocks the league. The aura of anticipation continues to grow, fueled by cryptic comments from team officials and the subtle confidence radiating from Becton himself during these semi-public practice sessions, suggesting that the long-awaited day of his full return could be imminent. And when it arrives, it may well redefine expectations for the Eagles' offensive line and the NFC East as a whole. Even more intriguing are the tactical implications being whispered in private circles, where insiders speculate that Becton's reintegration could allow the Eagles to experiment with hybrid formations that were previously considered too risky or untested. The rumor mill suggests that his combination of size, agility, and situational awareness might enable the team to execute plays that catch opponents off guard, leveraging his presence to open up lanes for the running game, while simultaneously fortifying the pocket for the quarterback. There's chatter about potential changes to personnel, with coaches possibly shifting other linemen to complementary positions, creating an offensive line that could dominate both the aerial and ground attacks. Analysts and insiders alike are poring over tape from past games, theorizing how Becton's techniques, once refined and strengthened through rigorous rehab, might exploit weaknesses in defensive setups across the league. The speculation doesn't stop at strategy. Sources suggest that even the psychological impact of his return could influence referees, commentators, and media narratives, creating an atmosphere where every snap becomes a point of heightened attention. Rumors suggest that scouts from rival teams have been quietly revising their evaluations of upcoming matchups, acknowledging that Becton's reappearance could significantly alter win probabilities. The dialogue within the league, though mostly unspoken publicly, hints at an underlying tension. Teams that once felt comfortable facing the Eagles now anticipate a new, formidable variable. This evolving narrative is amplified by subtle social media hints, cryptic comments from former teammates, and the occasional leak from training camp, all contributing to a crescendo of speculation. Observers note that Becton's return may be more than a physical asset. It could act as a catalyst for innovation in the Eagles' offensive strategy, pushing coaches to explore uncharted tactical territory while keeping opponents perpetually guessing. In essence, the rumors point to a story larger than a single player, an entire franchise potentially reshaping its identity around the resurgence of a lineman whose reputation alone commands respect, fear, and awe across the NFL landscape. Sources suggest that the Eagles' medical staff has been quietly refining a regimen tailored to maximize Becton's durability while optimizing explosive power, blending unconventional strength training with recovery modalities that have rarely been seen at this level of professional football. Insider chatter indicates that the player's diet, sleep schedule, and recovery protocols have been monitored with surgical precision, a testament to the organization's commitment to ensuring that this return isn't just symbolic, but transformational. Rumors hint that Becton has embraced an almost monastic focus on preparation, isolating himself from distractions, analyzing hours of game footage, and coordinating with coaches to refine techniques that will allow him to withstand the rigors of full-speed NFL action. The broader speculation suggests that the Eagles' front office views his return not merely as a reinforcement of the offensive line, but as a cornerstone for a season-long strategy that could culminate in playoff dominance. Analysts debate the ripple effects across the team, noting that his presence might encourage a more aggressive offensive philosophy, with the quarterback relying on Becton's protection to attempt riskier, game-changing passes. Meanwhile, whispers circulate that rival teams have been subtly adjusting their scouting reports, acknowledging the uncertainty introduced by his reintegration and preparing contingency plans in case Becton returns at full strength. Social media is ablaze with conjecture, from fan-made montages celebrating his comeback to deep-dive threads analyzing potential matchups. Even former players have chimed in, sharing anecdotes that highlight Becton's unique combination of size and skill, fueling the narrative that his return could be more seismic than any standard roster adjustment. The collective buzz portrays a scenario where the Eagles are not merely adding a player. They're signaling a calculated, high-stakes move designed to redefine the perception of their offense and unsettle opponents psychologically before the first whistle even blows. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Rumors are also suggesting that internal team dynamics are being subtly reshaped around Becton's anticipated return, with leadership roles being reassessed and younger players reportedly seeking his mentorship in ways that could influence not just on-field performance, but also team culture. Sources hint that this mentorship has been taking place in informal settings, from gym sessions to film room discussions, where Becton's guidance is quietly molding a generation of linemen into more versatile, disciplined athletes. Analysts speculate that this cultural shift may be just as impactful as the strategic implications, fostering a team identity rooted in resilience, technical mastery, and psychological toughness. Meanwhile, observers note that the whispers surrounding his return are amplifying external pressure on opponents, who now face the challenge of preparing for a player whose presence has been shrouded in secrecy, creating an aura of unpredictability that could translate into real-time advantages during games. Insider chatter points to subtle adjustments in practice schedules and playbook designs, indicating that the Eagles coaches are leveraging the suspense around Becton's comeback to experiment with formations and plays that might otherwise be deemed too ambitious or risky. Social media commentary reflects this intrigue, with fans debating whether Becton will be gradually integrated to preserve health or unleashed immediately as a surprise weapon, each theory fueling further speculation. The narrative extends beyond the field, influencing betting odds, fan expectations, and media coverage, all of which feed into a feedback loop of anticipation and uncertainty. Ultimately, the rumors paint a picture of a carefully orchestrated scenario where every step of Becton's return, from training routines to mentorship sessions, is designed to maximize both tangible performance and psychological impact, suggesting that the Eagles' strategy transcends mere roster management and enters the realm of narrative construction, where perception and reality blend to create a compelling, almost cinematic NFL storyline. Speculation has even reached league-wide analysts, with whispers suggesting that Becton's return might prompt rule discussions regarding player safety, given his history with injuries and the league's heightened focus on protecting linemen from high-impact collisions. Observers note that this added layer of scrutiny contributes to the mystique, making every practice snap, every conditioning drill, and every locker room appearance a potential headline. Rumors indicate that the Eagles may be using Becton as a dual-purpose asset, both as a formidable on-field presence and as a psychological lever to shift league-wide narratives. Insider chatter suggests that even rival coaches are quietly acknowledging the potential game-changing impact of his reintegration, strategizing around an unknown variable whose precise capabilities remain untested at full intensity in months. Analysts argue that the uncertainty alone could give Philadelphia a competitive edge, forcing opponents into overly cautious play calling or adjustments that deviate from their ideal strategies. Social media speculation mirrors this tension, with viral threads dissecting hypothetical matchups and fan communities generating scenarios in which Becton becomes the pivotal factor in key victories or monumental plays. Some insiders hint that Philadelphia is deliberately prolonging the suspense to maximize media attention, fan engagement, and strategic advantage, a move that, if successful, could redefine the timing and psychological management of player comebacks in the modern NFL. Rumors suggest that this carefully curated buildup is orchestrated to achieve maximum surprise, impact, and narrative control, positioning Becton not only as a player returning from injury, but as a fulcrum upon which entire storylines, rivalries, and season trajectories could pivot. The fascination continues to grow, with analysts, fans, and insiders alike anticipating the moment when Becton finally steps onto the field, potentially changing the course of games and leaving an indelible mark on the league's landscape, solidifying his legacy as more than a lineman, but as a transformative figure whose return resonates far beyond the Eagles' own roster. Rumors swirling around Becton's return have intensified in recent days, with insiders hinting at subtle changes to the Eagles' offensive schemes designed to maximize his strengths. The speculation suggests that he could be positioned in situations where his ability to dominate the line of scrimmage not only protects the quarterback but creates openings for running backs that were previously unavailable. Observers suggest that the coaching staff has been quietly running simulations to anticipate defensive reactions, analyzing how Becton's presence could alter defensive alignments and prompt miscommunications among opposing linemen. Fans and analysts alike are dissecting practice photos and snippets of video leaks, constructing elaborate theories about how the Eagles might unleash him strategically, balancing the need to safeguard his health with the desire to create maximum disruption in the league. Insider chatter hints at the potential for hybrid formations where Becton's unique combination of size, agility, and anticipation allows the Eagles to execute unconventional plays, increasing unpredictability and pressuring opposing defenses. Social media speculation ranges from cautious optimism to wild predictions, with some fans imagining him single-handedly reshaping games and others warning of the inherent risks of rushing a comeback. The rumor mill also suggests that rival teams are quietly adjusting their preparation, wary of the unknown element Becton represents, potentially altering weekly game plans to account for a player whose exact impact remains untested in competitive conditions. Analysts speculate that even if his first games are limited in snaps, the psychological effect on opponents could be profound, forcing defensive coordinators to rethink strategies and prompting players to overcompensate in blocking assignments, further amplifying his influence. Whispers have emerged indicating that Becton's mental preparation may be as rigorous as his physical rehabilitation, with sources suggesting he has been working with specialized coaches on film study, reaction times, and situational awareness to ensure that when he returns, his impact is immediate and precise. The ongoing buzz suggests a player poised not just to compete, but to redefine expectations, reminding everyone that the NFL's most compelling stories often emerge from the intersection of talent, preparation, and well-managed suspense. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.